with the Terrance Richardson Dream Believe Work Foundation. We are in production of our film, The Hidden Core. This is our third awareness film to where we are raising awareness about ongoing issues that's going on around our communities on today. I have Sheriff Eric Higgins here with me, and we're just going to have a conversation about the importance of the vaping and mental illness awareness and the different things that we need to get out there and raise awareness about in our communities. So welcome, Sheriff Higgins.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Really appreciate you for being here. So if you don't mind just telling us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I am currently Pulaski County Sheriff. Took office in 2019, was elected in 2018. Took office as Pulaski County Sheriff in 2019. Was just recently re-elected in last year in 2022. So this is my second term as Pulaski County Sheriff. My history in law enforcement goes back to about 35 years. I started at Little Rock Police Department as a cadet. I worked there 30 years. The Lord blessed me to move up in rank to assistant chief. Retired as assistant chief. I've been assistant chief for 10 years. After I retired, I ended up volunteering with a reentry program, helping people who are incarcerated to come out and be successful. So worked in that and then ran for sheriff in 18.
That is awesome. Wow. Long tenure in law enforcement. So just tell us, how can we become as successful? What all is put into becoming successful
I think it's so important, even when you're younger, to think about goals and think about what you want to accomplish, the things you want to do in life. A lot of times we think about the things we want, but to get the things you want, you have to have a job. And I think it's important to realize that we're going to work about 40 years to 48 years of our life. And so we need to think about, what do we like to do? What are our gifting? And how can I use those giftings in a workplace? And then look at that and see what's required for that job, what education level is needed, what training level is needed for that, and then start pursuing that. And I think it's important to understand that we may make goals on the front end and things change. Initially my goal, I wanted to be in computer science. I wanted to be a computer programmer. But when I was in school, I wasn't able to take that first class that I needed because of the way you signed up for classes in college. And as I was looking for a job, I got exposed to law enforcement. And so I ended up going on a different track. So I think it's important to have goals, be flexible, look at opportunities that present itself, and then have perseverance. Because it's not going to always be easy. Sometimes you'll have obstacles that'll come before you, and we need to have that long-term goal of what we want to accomplish. And I would say, use the people around you that have your best interests at heart, people who are going to help you, get wise counsel from others to help you make decisions.
You just helped me. You really did. You just helped me. So that is some very good information. So you mentioned about being around people who will bring, that will enhance you and make you better. So we have this issue that my children have been talking about lately, which is with juveniles and vaping, juveniles and drugs in general. So what can you tell the young people on today about the effects of vaping and smoking and all of that?
First of all, I would say avoid those things, because when you look at drugs, when you look at alcohol, any of these chemicals that you're putting into your body, it affects your brain, it affects your mind, the way you think. And we want to have a clear mind to be able to think and make proper decisions. All those things impact, when you're looking at these drugs, it impacts the way you think. And I think it's important that we avoid those things. Before it was just cigarettes, and then we come into vaping, and research is always changing. First it was vaping was better than smoking a cigarette for the smoke going into your lungs, but there's some challenges with the vaping. You don't know what you're breathing in. You don't know what chemicals you're bringing into your body, and that's always a danger. It's just like if a young person, if you go to a party You have to be careful who hands you a drink,
Mhm.
because you don't know what's being placed in the drink. And so it's so important. You don't want to you don't want to take things that's going to impact you mentally and affect how you think, because I talk to a lot of people in jail, the people that are in jail, that talk about that when they're not on drugs, there's so many things they wouldn't do that they do when they're on drugs. And it can sneak up on you, that you could think you can handle it and you really can't. And it changes your whole life. It changes your trajectory of what you can accomplish.
That's true. And going over to the mental health portion of it, those are some serious issues that people do not realize that they have. And it could be the effects of the things that's going inside of their bodies. However, what can we do in order to assist those who don't feel that they have the mental illness, but what can we do as a community to bring in the awareness of doing those drugs and the effects of mental illness, and what we can do in order to assist them?
Yeah, I think we have to understand that drug use can lead to mental health issues, and it happens early. We have people in our facility who tell me they started using drugs when they were 11 years old, when they were 13, when they were 9. They tried something and it took them down a road. Because it's affecting you mentally, the drugs, it can also create some other issues. And then we may have some issues with dealing with. Depression can, if not treated, can take us down a road that that creates more problems for us. I think it's so important that we understand that there's times we need to talk to somebody. And it's okay if you're struggling with things. As sheriff, there's a lot of things I deal with, and I have to have someone I can talk to. Because if I don't have a conversation with someone about my struggles, then it builds up. And it can lead to depression. It can lead to anger issues. And so I have to have that. And I think we have to communicate to people, help people understand that it's okay. In law enforcement, we're just getting to that point. I say just, it's been the last probably 15, 20 years, where we're starting to understand that all the things that we see, sometimes I need somebody to talk to. I can't just bury that in me. And so we're trying to do a better job of providing that mental health services to first responders. I think everyone is finally coming to realize the trauma that we see. And it's not just the big things of a death. Sometimes the trauma that we experience in our home or in our neighborhood, the things we hear, can have an impact on us. And we need to be able to talk to people. So I think it's important that we communicate that it's okay to talk to someone, to say you need some help or some counseling, because that's where the counseling really is. It's having a conversation and someone helping you process the thoughts that you have, what you're thinking about, or what's bothering you.
So what can we do as a community to get these people the help that they need? Some of them don't think that they have an issue.
Right.
So what would be your recommendation or your advice to those who we know needs the help, but they don't want to get the help?
I would say be patient with them, show love, listen, because I think that's the beginning, is listening to what they have to say, and point them in the direction, but not do it forcefully or aggressively, because if I'm struggling with that issue, I may push back on you. And I think, again, it's our community accepting that and providing those services out there. I think it's important in a detention setting that you have those mental health services in those for those individuals who are coming into that facility, that they're receiving that help. So education is important, getting the information out. Patience is important. Listening, and I think not telling somebody what they need, but maybe suggestions and helping them to come to a conclusion themselves.
That's good. That's some good information. Also, I'm going to open it up to them, and then do y'all have any questions for Sheriff Higgins?
How are you helping our community?
How am I helping our community? Well, that's a big question, and it's a big answer. The sheriff's office, our responsibility is for the safety of everyone in Pulaski County. That's my role. And sometimes people think it's making arrests. We do make arrests. We do write traffic tickets because we don't want you running red lights. We don't want you driving too fast because you can injure yourself or kill yourself or kill somebody else. So we do those things. But it's also about how do we build relationships in the community. Our role is to prevent crime, not just respond to a burglary that happens, but try to prevent it. So we try to have events in the community. When the community's doing different projects, if we can come out there and be a part of it, we want to do that by building relationships, because people aren't going to talk to me about what's going on in their community if we don't have a relationship. And then it's looking at what are the issues that create an unsafe environment in our community. And so one of the things you deal with is there's some people in our community that need food, and they struggle with that. So we have partnered with other organizations that we have what we call patrol packs. It's 3 days worth of non-perishable food that we put in the trunk of the police cars. So if a deputy comes across a food need, whether somebody's standing on a corner or responding to a call at someone's house, we're able to meet that need immediately by handing them that food pack. We also partner with Advance Auto. They give us $20 worth of gift cards, so that if I stop a car or a deputy stops a car that has a tail light out, instead of writing them a ticket for your tail light out, which they're gonna have to go and buy a part, we give them a gift card so they can go get the part, so they can make their car safer. So we're looking for ways to build relationships in the community to meet the needs in the community, because people need resources, and we're in the community, we see the need. So if we can build partnerships with different organizations, we can bring those resources into the community. We also have a youth program that we work with kids in the schools. And then we have a reentry program. We work with people who are in jail who may have drug addiction issues, may have mental health issues, and we try to increase the services we provide to them so that when they leave our facility, they're in a better position so that they can be a productive member of our community. Not just if they're dealing with drugs, and we give them some resources, help them to make those connections so that they can go into recovery and not do the things that lead to them being in jail. There's a lot of times the burglaries, things that they may be doing just to have the money to buy the drugs to support their drug habit. And it's something, a lot of people say drugs, just don't do drugs. It's difficult once you get into using drugs. It can take over your life, and people need help to overcome that. And so we try to provide those services to those individuals so they can be a good, productive member of our community.
That's good. That's good. And it's important for us to be behind them as well, right. To go out there and assist them in any way. If you see something going on, or if they're trying to build the community the best way that they know how, whether it's, they need our help as well. It's not just with them. Mm-hmm. They shouldn't be the only ones reaching out. We should reach out to them. Hey, what can we do to right. make the communities better? Right. Whether it is just hosting something mm-hmm. to bring them out, or whether it's funding or mm-hmm. Fundraisers or whatever.
Right, absolutely. We have a citizens advisory group that we meet with monthly to talk about issues in the community, things that they see that we need, and we talk about what we do. And I'll tell you, our first meeting, the citizens advisory group, they asked me, why can't I text 911? I mean, this technology, if I'm in trouble and I can't talk on the phone, I should be able to text 911. And that was our first meeting. He said, Sheriff, why can't we do that? And so we did the research to see how can we accomplish that. And we did a quick fix that cost a little bit of money, but we did a quick fix where you still couldn't text me, but I could text you back. Mm-hmm. But by the end of the year, we had next generation 911 system because of a citizen asking. So by the end of the year, and currently, if you live in the unincorporated area of Pulaski County, you can text 911. If you text 911, we will receive that text. And so that's from a citizen talking to us about what they needed in the community. And you know, and I want to point out, when you reduce crime in your community, if I help people that come out of jail and they're not committing a crime, or a young person doesn't go down the road of committing crimes, we create a safer community. And when you have a safer community, the community lends itself more to economic development. And when you have more economic development in the community, that means more livable wages, jobs that are providing livable wages, and so that people can provide for themselves and have the jobs that will support them. So it is about economic development. We want to reduce crime in our community by dealing with the undercurrents of what leads to criminal activity, because crime is a byproduct of something else. And so as a sheriff's office, we're trying to deal with that, what leads to criminal activity. And a lot of that is prevention and providing services.
That's good. That's good. All right. Is there anything else anybody else want to say?
Any other questions?
Any other questions, Mom? No questions? All right, Jay. All right. So this concludes. We want to thank you so much for coming out and speaking to us about all of these issues and how we can assist you with the sheriff at the sheriff's department, as well as you assisting us, and how we can enhance the community. So thank you for coming out to the Terrance Richardson Dream Believe Work. We are just going to conclude our interview. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So much.